Central Standard Time. I'm Rudy Garcia.
Yeah, I'm Crystal Garcia.
Yeah, so we host Revolve One podcast. We're very grateful that Tom and the People's Poetry Festival Committee have asked us to return. We did this last year, right?
Very excited, yes.
Last year, of course, it was in person. It was before all of this went down. So now here we are making the most of it. And I will say, I feel like we've had a great response, some incredible panels.
Yes, it's been awesome.
You were in a panel earlier.
I
You
was,
did fantastic,
yes,
by the way.
thank you. It was great. Everybody did
So
amazing.
we've got about 30 people signed up and more are coming as Tom is trying to get us on the spot. So, but we are going to try and keep to a 2-hour time limit. So we are going to ask that we did see a couple of double names on there. We're going to try and do everybody at least one time and then circle back at the very end if we have time to do that. So, Crystal, do you have anything to add to that before we get started?
Just that,
Do we have any rules? Can people just say whatever they want? Can they show whatever they want?
that,
What would you say?
Yeah, just nothing that incites any sort of like violent actions or mindsets or anything that's real derogatory. But I mean, if you want to cuss, just, be respectful of
The kids are in bed mostly, right?
Yeah.
maybe no Q stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's another.
I mean,
that's another festival.
Is this Friday Night Live? I mean,
yeah, this is pretty much Friday Night
good.
Live.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're very excited
So
to be here.
we're gonna. Do you have something to share in a minute? No.
I don't think so. Just
Okay.
names. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, then we're gonna start with our first, and actually, what we're gonna do here in the chat in a moment. So who do we have here coming up? Who? Maybe they're here, maybe they're not. We don't know.
Our first name is Odilia Galvan Rodriguez.
Odilia, are you in the house? Are you here on Zoom with us? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, no problem. What we're going to do here, we're going to find somebody here on this list, and then we'll put 2 names that are up and coming here in the chat. So keep an eye on the chat for it. So let's see, who do we have names here on people. Let's see here. Who do we have that I see on here, Crystal? Let's see. Now we're looking at names. We're looking at.
Go look at the. I know.
Tina. Hello, Tina. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Well, listen. You're gonna just the inaugural poet.
You're gonna do it. Yeah,
You're gonna
first.
open the open mic.
Okay.
How does that sound, Tina?
That sounds good.
Excited to hear.
Awesome. So
share.
let's we'll spotlight you if I can. Let me see here. I'm gonna figure this out. And ladies and gentlemen, Tina.
Hi. Okay. Just a little background on me. I grew up in Corpus, but I don't currently live there. So that's kind of how I got plugged in. I'll just briefly talk about my work now. My current body of work really interrogates systems. So the systems that I am interrogating is white supremacy, colonialism, imperialism, those kinds of systems. I'm a person of color, someone with a mixed identity. So my mom is actually an immigrant from the Philippines and my dad is from the Midwest. I grew up evangelical, and my current body of work is really preoccupied with the question of what raises us. How do we learn and grow into the people we are? And what do we do when we realize that those systems that we thought were our protection are actually wounding us? And a lot of my work looks at this generational question because my mom immigrated here in the early 90s. So a lot of my work thinks about her and this past her, and it tries to answer this broader question of who hurt your mother and how this trauma is passed down. So my first poem that I'm going to read today is titled Someday I'll Love Tina Lentz. And a little background on this, Frank O'Hara wrote a poem called Katie. And in that poem, there's a line that says, someday I'll love Frank O'Hara. And then Roger Reeves was reading this poem and he just saw that line and he extracted it and it just kind of snowballed. And then Ocean Wong saw Roger Reeves' poem and it just became this, this beautiful litany of voices writing about identity and someday they'll love, themselves. So I was like, I want to get in on that. So this is Someday I'll Love Tina Lentz. Here is something to learn and remember, that you do not need to see the ocean to be a part of her, that sloppy kisses can taste of garlic and vinegar, that it is not necessary to count your missing in old and empty ice cream buckets. The palmetto bugs will always be willing to colonize you. It doesn't mean fear. That hole in your chest where you raked through coastal reeds searching for something to trade. You can build a house wherever you like and let the materials change with you. The knitted lattice of abaca, now alchemized into ribbing taken from the Sonoran Desert. Even without water, you can find the sea populating your rivers, making less scary the dry seasons. Your father is your father, but do not forget you are made of your mother too. Don't let the common nursery rhymes trip you into forgetting what's coiled in your body. The coastal waters are rising to meet you, rewarding borders, cutting into bedrock the way Mary cuts into a mango whenever you visit. Here is your family's table, worn smooth from restless inquiries, and here is the piece of it you collected under your fingernails, scattering dust, traveling prodigal, hoping they find their way back to you. In my second poem, again, as I'm writing about like these systems, I always come up with questions. I'm preoccupied with questions. And I think that's a big part of my poetics. So specifically, I'm asking like, who gets to decide these rules? Like who gets to say who is right and who is wrong? And who gets to decide what's sacred and holy? Growing up evangelical, I felt like we had very specific answers to these questions and others, but at the same time, I felt like the church failed to talk about some of these things and even lied in some instances when it concerns people like me, people of color. So in a lot of my poems, I directly address God, who becomes this kind of third character in my body of work, because I just want to go straight to the source. So this is one of those poems. And it's called Dear God. Dear God, I wonder about the shape of you. When I look at my mother, I wonder how things would have changed if she had been told she was holy. How the color of her skin was close to the earth was a poem she did not need to run away from. The people built you from gold, but if you had a choice, would you have chosen something closer to our hands? When I trace the pathways through the desert, I can almost trick myself into believing that rivers can exist without water, that bodies can exist without weight, that my mother can exist without a God. But would that make you lonely? To have your child see you and decide that she is apart from you? Do you think Eve knew when she bit into that pink body? Is it possible to know a thing that hurts you and still want it? I have watched my mother dig into the soft white flesh of fish and wondered how someone could be so dexterous without study, even while I cut my hand on the rocks of Golden Gate Trail. Perhaps she is only living the lives that came before her. Perhaps the sea I am now drowning in is just as old. The dust covering my skin makes me into a ghost. I try to shake off the years, clinging like our clothes soaked through with Gulf water, forgetting that this too is baptism. My mother tells me that she does not miss winter. This is a gift the South has given her, faithless warmth that burns, only hot enough she can obscure her own reflection in it.
Tina, thank
Do
you
I-
so much.
Yes.
Yes, is that good, or do I have time for one more?
Well, let's let someone else go, Tina, just so we make sure we have time for everybody. We'll definitely keep that in mind, though. So we actually have next, we're going to have Wanda Gray, and then after Wanda, we'll have Michelle Eccellente Stevenson. Okay, so take note of that. Wanda, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Awesome. All right. Well,
I lost everybody.
Oh,
no.
goodness.
Internet went kaput, and I had to go back and get another source of internet.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, are you ready? Do we need to come back to you?
No,
Oh.
no.
Okay.
Then go right ahead whenever you're ready.
I did not start writing until 2003, other than what I had to write in letters and things in an office. And my mother had been a poet. I had assisted her, but I had never written poetry. And we had this wonderful little dog that we found in our RV park outside of Round Rock. And she was so scruffy. And we named her Ragamuffin and called her Rags. And she came into my life at a time that I needed her desperately. I was out in the country with no contact with anybody but my husband day to day to day. And I got very depressed. And I had made up my mind to kill myself. And here comes little Rags, and I wasn't lonely anymore. And 2 or 3 years later, we took her in to have her teeth cleaned, and the vet did a very poor job and punctured her lung and killed her. And I still say to this day that when we went looking for another dog, Rags was involved. She sent us there because the dog needed us and we needed her. And that's why I called Rags my little angel dog. And that was my very first poem. I haven't stopped since. I do flash fiction. I do short stories. I've got 3 novels in process, and I'm still writing a poem a day.
Love it.
That's beautiful.
That's a beautiful story.
So let me find my poem here real quick. I call this Night Sky. Ebony night sky filled with stars awaits the slowly rising moon. Stars twinkle brightly like diamonds as if inviting the moon to join them. As they dance in their nightly journey, the moon slides up from the horizon until all of its bright glory can be seen. The full moon outshines the stars closest to its sun-reflected light, enjoying its few nights in the spotlight before it begins its routine decline and once more diminishes to just a thin crescent in the sky. As the moon dwindles to nothingness, the stars continue to twinkle and shine until once again the moon returns in all its glory to outshine them in its few nights of round fullness as the highlight of the ebony night sky. I'm not going to take any more time.
Very nice. Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much,
sharing,
Wanda. We
Wanda.
really appreciate that. That was amazing. And now we're going to go to Michelle. And while Michelle's getting ready, let's see, who do we have that can go after Michelle that's on deck here? Let's double check our names and who we have here. Crystal, let's see.
I believe Robert Dean is also
Robert,
on our list. Yeah.
is Robert
He's
there?
right
There he is. Okay, Robert, you will go after Michelle here in just a moment, okay?
Okay, good evening, guys. I selected these 2 poems because they tell the story of my experience as I struggled during the political chaos of the last 5 years. The first poem, Venom, is published in Too Well Away Literary Journal. The second poem, What Right Did You Have, is out for submission and takes you into my head as I process some lingering questions. So first we have Venom. Standing in the checkout line, I waved hello, but I didn't recognize you. Once amicable, previously approachable, you were not there. Disturbed but not surprised, I recalled hints of your path towards a closed mind, over time in the company of others, marching to the beat of exclusion, tromping on the ideals of inclusivity. Still, I hadn't previously been introduced to the poisonous scowl that painted your face each time you glanced at the register. Condescendingly, with your arms crossed, disdain pouring out, you glared at the young mother in front of us, paying with her food stamps card, as if she was less than, as if she wanted to put back the items that tipped her over the edge, as if she wanted to hear her kids beg for the cereal that turns milk into chocolate. Had that hateful scowl been concealed, waiting for someone to say, "It's okay for it to come out and play"? Are you one of the many emboldened by others who declares, "Go ahead, tell it like it is, no holding back"? And then you did, unable to contain the viciousness any longer, loud enough for her to hear, for her children, for us all, loud enough with malicious intent to wound the vulnerable. You hissed and spat venom. "If you can't afford groceries..." You turned and expected me to agree. I watched you, dumbfounded, briefly stuck in my spot, shocked and disgusted. I walked away, abandoning my groceries, leaving them as a testament to your tirade, the abandoned basket, a reflection of your deserted humanity.
Wow.
Thanks.
Very good.
And then the second poem is called "What Right Did You Have?" And this is my lingering questions that I have. What right did you have to rip apart the fabric of our collective conscience, to wrench neighbor against neighbor, trumping this country into a selfish wasteland of rottenness? What right did you have to snatch this most sacred office and drive it into anarchy, intent on taking it from order to chaos and hurl it into a pit of inequity, where being rich was the sole qualification of gaining access, where being closed-minded was a prerequisite to opening the door, where being a coward was the foot that kept the door ajar? What right did you have to disavow and rip us from the international understanding of a climate that is in crisis, stripping protections from that which cannot battle, so that your affluent sycophants could hoard their millions? What right did you have to incite and applaud the disgusting rant of your small mind, wielding and thrusting the loathsome, heavy hand of the almighty superiority of race and wealth, erupting into hate and violence? What right did you have to stab and plant your vile words that burrowed under my skin, infesting me with boils that burst and ooze until the wound is indistinguishable from the flesh?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Powerful stuff.
Woo! Dang.
Sharing.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing. We appreciate that.
Yeah, they had some teeth. Woo.
Come on with it. Come on with it,
Yeah,
Robin.
for
Yes,
real.
don't hold back now. Who do we have next, Crystal?
So up next we have Robert Dean.
And then after Robert, let's pick our next contestant. Yes, we're good.
Yes.
Somebody's gonna win something tonight, apparently.
You win an open mic spot.
Let's see, who do we have? So after Robert, we will get, let's see, Odelia. I haven't seen Odelia yet.
Okay.
Come back to that.
I know I saw.
She's not here yet.
Okay, that's okay.
Thank you,
So
Tom.
I know Dan is also here, right?
Dan?
Dan,
Okay,
yes, so-
Dan will go after Robert.
Yes.
We'll do that here in just a moment. So Dan will follow Robert. Robert, how's it going there?
Not too bad. Coming to you from lovely Kansas. So
Oh, there you go.
I
There's
love
no
it.
place like home, right?
yeah, you know, I don't know how tired I am of hearing that. But anyway, um,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to add to it. Wow.
I lived in Texas for 3 decades and heard that constantly every time I said I was from Kansas. What I'm going to read is all from my second book called The Aerialist Will Not Be Performing, which was published by Turning Plow Press, a wonderful small press run by Paul Bowers. Many of you know Paul, and Tim Kane, I think is his last name. And I was hoping Paul would be here, but I don't see him anywhere. So he's done a terrific job with this new press of his. And this is ekphrastic work written to paintings by Stephen Schrader. Some of you know Steve. And I'll try and show this one here. Goes with the first poem. It's called All That Is Solid Melts into Air is the name of the painting. And that triggered me to write this poem. I don't know if you can see this, but right there, there's a little brown kind of like structure on the edge of the painting. And that's what drew me into the painting. So this is titled What I Remember. What I remember is the sun, and how in those days we all lived within a stone's throw of it. What I remember is my mother's clear-nailed fingers clacking over the ivories of the upright piano, and how the notes danced in the warm green irises of her eyes. What I remember is my father taking his father's handmade board and whittled wooden pegs from the battered cigar box, which, nevertheless, was laden with wondrous treasure, shuffling dog-eared blue cards backed with winged Cupid riding a bicycle, and explaining words like cribbage and his nibs, the difference between play and show. What I remember is the Sunday afternoon smell of pot roast and string beans and scalloped potatoes coming to a head in the butter-colored sanctum sanctorum of the kitchen. What I remember is tiny miles of railroad track on a big brown board in the basement, and little brother's ecstatic hand claps when the train left the rails. What I remember is cats in the backyard, and how much Dad did not resemble Catfish Hunter or Blue Moon Odom, and how the light glinted off his fastball anyway. What I remember is Miss Buttonhoff's blonde hair, and how we naughty little Lutheran schoolboys never minded staying after hours in 4th grade. What I remember is rounding the corner of the school building and running into a new kid, and how, when we got into our 40s and 50s, we faded out of each other's lives. But mostly what I remember is all the houses we ever lived in, and how they were all the same house because they were always our house. If you look closely, you can see it now, our house, just barely in frame, floating across the face of this one last cigar box treasured day, me waving from the porch, the sun still rising. So, thank you. This painting will be harder to see. It's pretty abstract here. Very fragmented looking painting. Titled She Pondered Everything That Had Happened in Her Heart. And that was Steve's translation of a verse that is found in the Gospels about the Annunciation. And so the poem is titled Safe Place to Land. When the angel comes, are we ready? Are our wombs primed to conceive God, to carry the weight of him, to thrust him forth into this fractured world? Can we wrap our heads around the conceit of creating the creation of us? Or do we search for a different mythology, one that lets us off the hook, one that preaches forget thy neighbor, love only thyself? Can we reach nirvana without tramping the mundane? Will we rock the boat if we stretch out a hand? What if the fingers that swim towards ours are ours? What if every face grimacing in pain, every skin and bones child, every soul crying out for mercy is us? If we plug our ears, shut our eyes, will it stop? What if we are the shepherds and the Christ, the wise men and the star, the Savior and the saved? What if heaven and hell be only us? What if we are all things that are now and forevermore? What if the angel is each and every one of us, bearing an annunciation we will ponder for the rest of our days? What if there is no safe place to land, no inn, no stable, no manger? Do we still dare the journey? proclaim the good news, die for the sake of it, forsaking ourselves. By God, how can we not? And that's probably a good place to leave it.
Thank you so much, Robert. That was an incredible imagery, and we do appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Thank you.
Dan Wilcox. So whenever.
Yes, we're gonna have Dan, and then after Dan, let's see who else we can queue up, who's available here. So let me see here. I think we're getting to the point where the other people that are here are not here yet, perhaps.
Probably.
So is there somebody here that would like to go after Dan that hasn't already gone? Speak up now, Rosemary.
Yes, I could definitely go. There wasn't a theme, right?
No, ma'am, it's
open.
Free for all. Rosemary, and then I saw there that Jennifer too. So we've got Dan will go here in a moment, Rosemary, Jennifer, and then we'll go back to our list and see if we can't have anybody else that has showed up here. So Dan, welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you. I just want to give a little explanation of how I got here.
Sure.
I've known Tom Murphy from Scissortail and Alan Barreca. And tomorrow, a couple of the panelists, we have Dorothy Alexander and Ken Hayda. This is how some guy from upstate New York ended up with a bunch of Okie poets and people from Texas and all that kind of stuff. So
glad to have you.
Love it.
Yeah. And congratulations to Tom on being named the Poet Laureate. So I picked out a handful of poems and trying to bounce off what other people said. And then Michelle just read her poems, and I was inspired to pull up one that I hadn't planned on reading and that I hope to retire after the last election, because it's about the previous election. But I'm going to read it. So thank you, Michelle, for poking me in the ass to do this. All right. So this actually was written originally prior to Trump's election and was revised slightly after he got elected. This is titled "When Donald Trump Farts." And here's a quote here from The Miller's Tale by Geoffrey Chaucer. "This Donald anon let flee a furt, as great as it had been a thunderdent." When Donald Trump farts, it is like he is delivering a message of freedom to the oppressed of the Aleutian Islands. When he farts in his limo or private corporate jet, Donald Trump pretends it didn't happen, calls the sound an alternative fact. His children, Ivanka, Donald Jr., Eric, even Tiffany and Barron, have been hearing his farts for years. And like all children, they got used to them and now ignore his farts. Ivana left him because when he farted, he didn't say, "Excuse me." Marla, because his farts were loud and violent. But Melania rather enjoys them, likes to say that she, like most women, doesn't fart. But when she does, they are melodious. But then she likes to copy what other people say. Donald Trump says that he is for law and order, but he lets his farts fly free without restriction. He says he wants to build a wall to keep Mexicans out while he lets his farts migrate wherever he goes. Donald Trump says he wants Muslims to wear a badge. This stinks even worse than his farts. Now that Donald Trump is president, it would be in the world's best interest to make sure his diet avoids beans, beef, and of course, beer. Because when Donald Trump farts, Vladimir Putin farts too. But when Donald Trump farts in the White House, the whole world does not have to listen. And all Americans should be buying anti-fascist air fresheners.
Word on that one.
Wow. Loved it. Loved
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Okay.
I don't know how you follow that up, Dan. Is that all you have for us right now?
That's what I'll do. Yeah. I'll just do that. All right.
Yeah,
That's a high note right there.
Yeah.
Right. Woo.
We're gonna keep moving, so we're gonna have Rosemary, Jennifer, Charity, and then Karen did point out that we do have Erwin will go after Charity in just a bit.
Yes.
So I promise you we'll
track
try
of
to
it.
keep track of all that. So Rosemary's up and then Jennifer. So Rosemary, how are you?
Good, thank you so much. So this one is called, this was in dedication to the shooting in El Paso. I know we passed the 1-year mark, and so it's called El Paso, We Were Here First. I did not know that the shooter had a manifesto, a written document of his hate of all he felt was great in him. When you look at me, what do you see? A woman, a writer, or a personality you've created to demonize and criticize with lying words and racist eyes. Remember the Alamo, Mexicans like to shout. And Tejanos said, sí, pendejos, recuerden el Alamo. We were there first. It was already our land. Tejanos fought for Texas independence from Mexico and the United States. Except after the bloody battle, only Susanna Dickinson and her daughter, Angelina, known as the Babe of the Alamo, received the 300 acres of land promised to each Alamo defender. There were 9 other babes of the Alamo, but they were brown, their ancestors having lived on the land for 200 years before it was even named San Antonio, before resettlers started to show up. 22 Tejanos inside the Alamo survived alongside the Dickinsons, and no one even knows their names. Perez, Navarro, Villanueva, Gonzalez, Salazar, Esperanza, Francisco, Lozoya, Salinas, names unknown, children unrecorded, absent from the rolls, hoping we'd go away when we didn't receive our 300 acres. Yet here we are, still standing, until shot down in broad daylight. Except today, these names are forever recorded in history. Anchondo, Benavides, Garcia, Campos, Hernandez, Regalado, Flores, Juarez, Lagareta, Manzano, Marquez, Mendoza, Rodriguez, Sanchez, Velasquez. So you see, Mr. Shooter, I too use words as weapons, minus the assault rifle. I too believe some don't belong, those who fake strong, and I'm fine, just fine. You're alive to bear the brutal attacks you'll sustain, far from the reign of those in charge. In prison you will pay, your blood often sprayed out of your body as was theirs, those you shot down enjoying a Saturday about town. You claim and overwhelm, and Browns, we agree, you never should have invaded. Look what you've created, hate and lies, changing the story of how you won glory, but disease and genocide, you still cannot hide the truth. They will beat you senseless as you rot in jail because you failed to remember we were here first. That's it.
Oh, powerful.
So
Absolutely.
profound, Rosemary. Thank you for sharing.
I was angry when I wrote it.
Definitely understandable.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to have Jennifer come up next here in just a moment. And then after Jennifer, we are going to have Charity. Jennifer, welcome.
Hi, I was trying to get myself unmuted. Okay, so I have two. The first one was just published in Existare just a couple days ago, the recent issue. The second one is lighter, and I wrote it for my foster daughter because she needed it really bad at the time. So, okay, so the first one is called So Sweet. Your homie asked you what you liked best about me, and you answered, she does what I say do. I've got news for you. I did what every boy said to do. I was born to it, laid out for my first baby pictures, a welcome mat in lace and rosebuds. Sweet southern submission runs through my veins. Christmas morning, when you peppered shoe-shaped bruises onto my legs and back, I apologized to you for having ruined the holiday. You didn't feel like turkey, so I packed it and all the fixins, my mother's most special recipes, into Tupperware and into the fridge. We took our baby girl, picked up Chinese food, used the diaper bag to sneak it into some new sci-fi movie. I don't care for science fiction, but you'll never hear that from my mouth. Sweet southern submission is in my bones, so much so that when you broke my arm, I denied it for almost a week. All day I cooked, cleaned, changed diapers with one hand. At night, the pain. I stuffed a handful of nightgown into my mouth, let my tears silently soak the pillow so as not to disturb your sleep. I finally snuck out to the hospital while you were at work. Neither of us ever mentioned the cast. Next time you tell me you'll kill me, I believe I will go on and lie down in the dirt on my own. I've been slowing my heart for you, little by little, for years now. I never wanted to be any bother. Thank you. Let me find the next one. Sorry, guys. Okay, this one is called Infinite Booty. I am 22, and I've just given birth to my first child, a daughter. I run across a photo in a drawer. In it, I am 14. I have just finished the run of a musical, which I have choreographed and in which I have danced. My arms are around two of my castmates. My head is thrown back. I'm laughing. I'm strong and fit. Man, I was pretty, I think, incredulously. What I remember of 14 is a classmate at the park telling me I had 5 extra pounds of fat in my face. I remember going up one set of staircases, across the top floor, and down another set of staircases to avoid having to walk past the people in study hall, because I thought my butt was huge and I didn't want all those eyes on it, on me. I am 32 and I have just given birth to my second child, a son. I dig out old photos to put in an album. I see me at 23 with my baby girl. I had sewn her clown costume for her first Halloween. I had made a home for my new little family. I am grinning and proud. I have womanly curves. I am resourceful and my body is resilient. I think, damn, I was hot. What I remember of 23 is being embarrassed of my new mama tummy pooch. A fat ass and now this? I remember constantly sucking in my gut, even in my own house, even in front of my husband, even in bed. In every phase of my life, I look back at the phase before and am appreciative of the body I once had and wish I had appreciated it sooner. Wish that I had valued my youth, my curves, my beauty. I am 48 and all the pics are somewhere online and I don't look back much anymore. 25 years of chronic illness have taken their toll and my body will no longer do everything I ask it to. And that is what it has taken to show me that my body isn't me, that my compassion is strong, that my mind is fit, that my soul is resilient, that I am still resourceful and capable and adaptable. My body may keep getting bigger, but so then does my talent, my intellect, my heart, and my wisdom. Anyway, I've lived long enough to see big butts come into style, and I know now that my beauty, like my booty, is infinite.
Thank you so much for sharing, Jennifer.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Jennifer.
that.
Thanks.
We're going to have a Charity come up next. And then I guess Erwin accidentally signed up. So
Yeah.
we're not going to
We'll
include
skip
Erwin.
Erwin.
So we may be coming back around to that. So if you're interested in going after Charity and you haven't gone, please enter your name here into the chat. Otherwise, we may swing back around potentially to Tina and maybe even Josh as well. I know is interested potentially in going. So Charity, welcome to the open mic. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll turn my video on. So this one is called Too High a Price. I left my mouth on the floor next to your shoes that you used to walk a mile from the inch that I gave. It is my fault. I allowed you to treat me this way. Days felt like years with you. It was like I had aged. I was tired, fatigued. I wanted to be saved, yet I stayed. This is how girls waste their time. This is why women must know they're divine, as grown boys love a good bargain, paying pennies for a dime. And if I could turn back time, I would forget, reclaim my innocence. The hands of time would bring my raging sun back to a dancing flame. It would erase the syllables that my mouth used to form your name. It would take away knowing that being alone isn't the worst thing I could face. But I've eaten the forbidden fruit. I've been cursed with the knowledge that growing up isn't always something to aspire to, as its implications can wreak havoc on your heart. But there is no undoing what I have allowed to be done. There's no forgetting or erasing. There's only me and this raging sun. And I promise you, I will burn up if it means giving you light, if it means warming you up. So I hope you know that you are not worthless. Your body and mind are beautiful in every way. You ought to be respected and revered, as you are important and you take up space. You matter. Even if you've made mistakes, you matter. You are worthy of being treated in the utmost way. I pray you never again waste your time. As women, I pray that you know you're divine, refusing to be sold on a good bargain, rejecting pennies on your dime. And even if you have been thrifted a couple times, know that they can never devalue an antique. You are a designer, no off-brand can compete. You are limited edition, which means you will always be rare, in high demand, valuable, and unique. So set your standards high, your boundaries wide, as you deserve only the best from the next guy. That's all.
Come on with it, Charity. Yes, all day, all day. Is that your only piece? Is that?
I can read another one if we have time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're here till 11.
I'll do.
And then we'll
This
have
next one is.
Joshua.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Sorry. I will have Joshua. Your last name. Sorry, I just saw it. Oh my gosh. I missed. What's his name?
Espitia?
Yeah. Yes, Joshua Espitia will be after Charity, so we'll have that go next. So sorry, Charity.
No worries. So this next one is called Adoration. I adore loud laughs. You know, the ones so powerful they can be seen and felt. For instance, my cousin has a brown voice that bellows. Her sound is consuming, pulled by a metal chain from the back of her throat, anchored out, violently settling even in places it isn't welcome. She lets it be known. Where it comes from is a place that my family does not know, this place has never been ours to keep. No wonder my mother cannot tell me much about my family tree. Its roots have been severed, yet the traits still run blood deep. That's how I know that even though deforestation has always been a popular hobby under European control, that defiant laugh was derived from the rich soil that gave her her skin. I am not mistaken. That laugh is action-packed with hundreds of years of enslavement. It is the cries of a child torn from its mother out of pure spite. It is the violation of an entitled man to hold her down and pry open her thighs. That laugh is a mournful cry for a continent in which natives will never lay eyes again. Taken from their homeland, forced to work for nothing, threatened, tortured, and beaten into silence, and destined for a life of fighting for basic human rights. That laugh is a protest. It is a stolen key. It is a trendsetter. It is an African American taking the lead. It is a Michelle Obama, a Yara Shahidi, and Ava DuVernay, and an Oprah Winfrey. As I grow older, I stop buying into stolen looks and stereotypes. Instead, I laud the resilience of melanated skin, stubborn hair, and laughs that interrupt the years of my ancestors' silence. The same silence that was applauded by white bloody hands, a silence that wouldn't get you stares and looks of discontentment, a silence that if broken, name calling would be an understatement. But silence is no longer welcome here, because silence would mean losing the magic that Black bodies fought so vigilantly to keep, a backbone of still the blood that courses through me. It would mean never being inspired by the best brown bellowing laugh, never being heard, and never telling her just how beautiful it is to hear it.
Mm.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charity, for sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate that. We're going to have, like I said, Joshua, not Joshua Hamilton. We appreciate you. We got you. We know where this is headed. Let's see. I know he's on here somewhere. Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay, Joshua. Let's see here. Welcome.
Here I am. All right. Well, first off, my apologies for ruining this wonderfully deep night with my pure hedonistic poetry that's about to follow. I feel really bad following all the people I followed because, wow, this is not in the same vein, and I apologize. But these are both world premieres. They've never been read before. Probably never been written before. I don't know. Could be plagiarized. Who knows? This first one is, I think, going to be appreciated by the other Joshua and by Robin, and I don't know the rest of your life experiences, so I'm not real sure. This is called Roll. Walk around, mount up, engine on, visor down, ease the throttle open, ride. Second gear slow through neighborhood streets, left foot down at the stop, look left, then right, then out of suburban banality into an urban calamity. Quick, 1, 2, 3, dodging blind drivers alongside streets, smells mingling under helmet-safe border, rubber burning, riding brakes, exhaust and hot asphalt melting to the city limit line. Open up and merge, highway calling loud, trucks, traffic growls, twist the grip, pass, shift, quick to 6, watch the numbers tick, 96, 97, 98, 99, triple digits climbing, delivering serenity. Freedom lives here at unchecked speed, in an unhindered wind, on long, sun-drenched ribbons of open road, with the fragrance of wildflowers flashing past in a blur of colors unimaginable. That's Roll. And then this one, I have a idea that 50% of you will like it, and 50% of you will maybe block me on Facebook. We'll find out. All right. So this is called Sour and Sweet. He was a Sour Patch Kid laid down inside out, the assembly line moving backwards in time just long enough to put the layers in the wrong order in one little morsel before resetting, letting loose upon the world a sweet and smiling, shining bright, adorable thing begging, enticing me with clever packaging and impossible colors to take her home and have a taste. And so I, not knowing what I was seeing through the cellophane haze of infatuation, fell victim to the advertising and laid my figurative coins on the counter to count her my counterpart for the foreseeable future. On opening her wrapper and taking my first long, slow nature of the relationship defining lick, sugary satisfaction led to a need for an immediate return to her cloying glory. She inspired a lust for the nectar that dripped from her, honey-tinged fruit swarming and drowning me with every smile, every blush, and every irresistible temptation, pulling me to the inescapable trap that was her presence, her flavor, her candied demeanor. Then came the hint of a turn, nothing major, just a slight sourness that might have been a memory on my tongue, a bit of old vinegar left over from some previous encounter with a delicacy less delicate than the treat eating away time with me any time the mood struck. But it grew stronger the longer I lingered, while I was wrapped around her finger, the sting of a weed bearing bitter berries bit back at me until it overpowered all of the syrupy delights I had been enraptured in, disappearing into a new addiction, an acidic obsession enveloping me until I could not take the exquisite pain, draining my strung out taste buds, now blistered by the caustic indulgence, overwhelming every molecular aspect of my crackling corporeal being, and I had to spit that once perfect piece out and save my chance to savor anything again. And while I cannot lay the blame at the feet of the confection I so willingly chose to grace my palate for her convoluted construction, you can bet your sweet ass I can hold me accountable for not having common sense and getting a goddamn gummy bear the very next time I wanted candy. That's all I got.
Well done. No, absolutely. Well done. I don't think anybody hates you. I don't think.
No, that was good.
No, we're highly impressed. But so let's see, who do we got next, Crystal? We have some people here that are in the crowd that have thrown their name in, and I'm terrible at doing the chat while listening, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm trying my
We're
best.
keeping up. We're trying to keep up here.
I'm a one window person kind of thing, you know.
There's so many windows. Okay,
So let's see. So we're gonna have.
You're a man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have Joshua Hamilton go, and then Robin, Professor Robin is gonna go, and then we have time. Obviously, we're here till 11, and yeah, I haven't seen anybody else pop up that is on our list. Of course, we'll swing back around to some of those other people as well. So, Josh Hamilton, are you ready to share? Would you like to?
I would love to. My computer has been super laggy, so I don't know if this is coming through in real time or not. Does everything seem okay?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to read from this little chapbook, Rain Minnows. Gnashing Teeth Publishing is this amazing, wonderful publishing house here regionally, locally, run by Karen Tardif. And they have a website as well, gnashingteethpublishing.com. You should look into it. They publish stuff all the time. And they have anthologies each year that are wonderful anthologies. So I'm going to read a couple of short poems from this little collection. I'm going to start with a poem that's called Hymn to the Nails. Last column totaled, surprised the numbers, vertical nails in ink or light, framing the journey through sedentary life. Recumbent death makes you want to push fingers into wild assumptions, ignore yard and planters, let vines grow hangdog from cheeks, neck, hang doubt, one step out of coffee, and the morning tears its cushion, lays down nailed frame on trellis to guide the green of penetration. Thus the disquiet of time looks to the senses, will thereupon rip and exile what shelter was keeping. Thank you. Yeah, here's one more poem. It's called Shadows of Architecture. It has a little epigraph by a Spanish poet named José María Álvarez. ¿Acaso todo esto sucederá sin ti? Pero junto a ti es más dichoso. I let my body and it contemplates me. Fervor, lightning, a warm winter pavement, soaks my companion to the eye tooth. We let out you this help, no building forward destruction, good code, sinks trimmed lunar bed nail beside my 6 a.m. bride my temple. Let body live and some elsewhere one takes me, palm pressed to the quick, and forethought rubs her head under mine and my temple undivided. That's it. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great job.
That was awesome.
Appreciate that. Just leave the door open. So we are going to have, let's see. So I have Robin, Dr. Robin, paging Dr. Robin to DLR.
Hi, guys.
There you are. Okay, I can't find you. I'm not the best at Zoom. You gotta help me out here.
Sorry, I had to put some clothes on. I put a jacket on and a scarf on.
That was it. Yeah. Until after 10,
Right,
then
we
you
didn't
can.
pay
I'm
for a
just
show.
Okay, I got students in here, so
okay. Yeah.
so
We're all peers here, Robin.
I'm reading this one that it's just one that I wrote it because it was a prompt for the Good Cop, Bad Cop anthology with Flower Song Press. And it's kind of like a spoken word poem. So I've never read it out loud, and it's a fairly recent one. And it's really, I was reading it because I'm right before the election and I was really hoping for the best. But we still have so much work to do, don't we? I mean, just so much work. But anyway, it's called #White House Rodeo. #White Supremacy. Some bull bumbled into the ring, barreled from the chute through the good old boy rodeo gates, hanging on their rusted feudalist hinges, screwed into the rotting frames by an electoral college fiefdom, still swinging and pinch hitting from the panicked glimpse of their future impotent progeny who can't for the life of us choke one another's imperialist sperm to death fast enough. #Bad hombres, #nasty women. Some bull said, lock her up, grab him by the pussy, get out bad hombres and nasty women. His flankmen by the dozens indicted for collusion while he gouges native lands with a wall and cages, rips children from parents with his rhetoric to save us from a caravan of terrorists with his Mexicans are criminals and rapists, inflames his MAGA, his white vigilantes, his Aryan nation. #Confederacy is falling. The bulls charge Charlottesville, Virginia, trickle down MAGA to the white nationalists. A bull lit the spark for the blaze of massacres at Parkland, Pittsburgh, Poway, El Paso. In the great American dream, the bull and his barrelmen rally the crowds, rally the men in blue to press their red MAGA bodies on black bodies. Not a rope in a tree, it's their guns and knees cutting off the breath. #Run with Maud, #George Floyd, #Breonna Taylor. George Floyd's last breath in Charleston. Breonna Taylor's last word in Louisville. Ahmaud Arbery's family in Georgia. Vanessa Guillen's body in Fort Hood. Flashback Ferguson. Flashback Trayvon Martin without his freedom papers, walking his body down the street in Florida. Flashback James Byrd in Jasper, Texas, his body dragged. Flashback Emmett Till, Mississippi. Flashback Tulsa. #Proud Boys. The bull is martial law and Führer Princip. Federal stormtroopers charging out of a Portland courthouse, storming out of the gate, testicles swinging, guns blazing, batons slicing the body of air and flesh, cutting up peace, protesters, justice. The bull is kicking up ashes and dust, chomping at the bit. A fascist calls his Proud Boys to stand down, stand by. Some mama's boys, somebody's boys. #Patriarch down. In a rodeo before the steer is taken down, the header gets a rope around the horns. The header must possess great strength, like people in a democracy. The healer is at the feet with another rope, like voters in a democracy. The crowd is going to reel the last hurrah, the patriarchal last gasp. Wind is leaving the sails. The healer is about to slip the rope over both feet before the steer drops.
Wow.
You killed that. That was so good.
Long way, Robin.
We're glad.
Thanks for letting me read that one.
Absolutely. Do you
Amazing.
do you want us to? Robin, did you have anything? Did you have?
No, I'll pass the baton. Thank you so much.
Absolutely,
again,
yes.
Robin.
Thank you again. Very powerful written here. So we are going to. I feel like I had somebody in mind.
Well, was Wanda?
Oh, Wanda.
Wanda
Wanda
was
had a
gonna
few
go-
short ones, right? Wanda,
go again,
did your
yeah.
internet fail us, or you're there? There you are.
I had to unmute.
Okay.
Okay, no
here
problem.
We are.
No problem. We're circling back around, and then let's see. Who do we have after Wanda? I know Tina wanted to go again, right? Tom, are you waving at me for any reason, Tom? Yes? You are waving at me. For a specific reason.
Yeah, I did sign up at one point.
Well,
in time.
Tom wants to go.
But it's probably towards the end. Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
plenty of time,
we'll
Tom.
keep you in mind,
Plenty of
Tom.
time. Yeah.
No problem.
You don't tell me jokes in the chat, Tom, and then expect me to call you. So we'll have Wanda go. We'll circle back to Tina, and then we'll see if anybody
goes
else.
up to 11.
Newest side.
To 11.
Yes, you're correct. Wanda, please take it away.
Okay, I called this one Secret Beach. Years ago, when I was young, there was a private and secluded place, a place a young bride and her groom could hide from the world. A clandestine beach of pure white sand with clear blue-green water where they could sun and swim or just make love under the blazing sun. Few knew of this pristine beach. Few bothered to dare the dirt road. Even fewer braved the rickety bridge leading to our perfect place. This secret place is no longer exists, except in my many memories. It now holds a condo or a housing tract or maybe a shopping center or a bunch of stores, but a young couple still frolics there in my mind and always will. It was off of Key West.
Snap, snap, Wanda.
And I'm a haiku freak. I love my haikus.
Haikus are awesome.
Sullen, gloomy clouds loom ominous overhead, dangle promised rain. Golden orange sun rises daily in the east, refreshing each day. Water-soaked beaver gnawing down stately old trees to form into dams. Sweet, slippery elm provides so much welcome shade to lazing, slippery eel. Trilling birds are still as sun sets and day is done. Owls and bats arise. Succulent petals of green tinged with lavender, surrounded by chicks. And I did this one for Groundhog's Day. Punxsutawney Phil, may you your shadow not see, that winter will end. That wasn't too prophetic. And the last one that I have, little bit different.
Okay.
I was awake. I was awake while you were dying, a slow, torturous death, besieging us both, taking you piece by piece while I could do nothing. It stole my life as it devoured yours. First your memory, then your body, while all I could do was watch and grieve for each piece of you it took, leaving a shell of the man you used to be. I mourned my loss every moment. When the thief named dementia finally took away your last breath, I had only one consolation. Our desire to be together, even in death, as we had been in life, will be fulfilled. Upon my death, our ashes will be joined and tossed to the wind, so we may travel in death as we did in life.
Oh, wow.
That's all.
Thank you, Wanda. Thank you again
Yes.
for sharing.
Thank you. Absolutely. That was incredible, Wanda. We've got, so we're stacking up here. This is a good thing, right?
This is good.
We've
Yeah.
got to 11, so we've got some people here. So we're going to circle back to Tina because Tina did say that she had something else, and everybody here has gone. So Tina's going to get ready here in just a second, and then we have, oh, I forgot to write your name down, Daniela. Danielle, I'm sorry. It was Danielle. What was her last name, Christelle?
Just saw
Where
it.
are you?
Johnson.
Johnson, yes, you will go after Tina here in just a moment. So Tina, we circle back around to you.
Cool. And I just want to be cognizant of time. Do I just share one or?
For the time being, yes. Yeah, let's do one. It seems like we are, of course, we've got plenty of time, but just for the sake of having everybody else.
Yes. Okay, so I've been hearing, like, as the night has gone on, some political poems. So I'm thinking, I'll throw one of mine out there too. I don't like to call it political poems because I feel like all my poems are political. Everything is political. This was written after the Capitol riots on the 6th. I was really just taking it all in, but then I was also, there was a lot of, talk in the communities about, I kept hearing this one phrase, like, why are you surprised? This didn't just come out of nowhere, it's slowly built to this. And then I was thinking about how I'm in this community as a person of color, a brown person, but also through colorism and stuff like that, I'm also complicit in some of this violence by not speaking up when I should, or I guess getting into that mindset of, oh, this is surprising. Like, it shouldn't be like surprising, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm thinking about this poem from the perspective of an Asian American, which is my identity, looking at these Capitol riots that are going on. And it's titled Soft Mouth. I want to make myself sick with safety. Make myself eat rice with every meal, just like my mother taught me. Today, I am lost in the daily act of living while I prepare the day's offerings. Cutting into the raw white breast, the news starts unbuttoning. They've just stormed Capitol Hill, my partner tells me. Impossible story. I file away as I try to redirect our time. It's the 6th, I say, as if that will make it make sense. It's a Wednesday, and somewhere outside screaming comes from a car alarm. Reminds me I have things I need somewhere on a list. I stutter through several empty bottles before finding the one left in the back corner of the cupboard. I call my dog to me. He is a shepherd, now advanced in years and gray. I have never been good at giving the medication, but I'm told it's required for a good life. I massage his neck, make him ready to receive the inevitable push down the throat. I put my whole hand in, feel the wet insides, tongue pressed into a question before dropping the pill and pulling out. Wait for the polite cough and whine. Good boy, I say, and marvel at how easy it's become. What did you say? My partner asked, still watching the smoke rise over the white Capitol buildings, the rioters unfurling their MAGA and Jesus 2020 flags as the police escort them up the stairs. Soft mouth, I say, a very soft mouth.
Wow, that was so powerful, Tina. Thank you again for sharing. So up next, we do have Danielle Johnson. So we're going to go
And then
ahead
after Danielle.
And then after Danielle, we'll have Jennifer.
Jennifer will
as
circle
well.
back
Yes.
to Jennifer. So Oh, there she is.
Hi, everybody. Hello. This is my first time doing an open mic, so this is very I'm a little nerve wrecked right now, but I believe that I can do this. Like I've created these poems quite a while ago, probably about a year ago. I'm just going through my archives because this is an open mic. But the first poem I'm going to be doing two. They're short. So the first one is about a friend of mine who I've been thinking about real recently. Hopefully everything is well over there. She is an older woman. So I just, with all the coronavirus and everything that's going on over there, my mom currently is there. I'm Brazilian American. And this is about my friend Jane. The context of one friendship. Her hair is a thick ombre gray to black. With a set of teeth, her ivory sohis beams a room to life. I can look into her eyes and she is happy. Happy to see a blossoming conversation. A conversation of silky chocolate and past meal times. Her love for memories continues to be absorbed by the space, me included. Content to be a part of something bigger than her four walls. The one she raised her 3 children, happy to see the youth around her. I would call her name in delight and she'd bring her friendship. Soft kisses, frizzy hair maintenance, early morning bread, all the Bahia essentials. Sunday was always a special day. She has to look her best for Jesus. A long red dress to complement her white pearls. Ruby is, after all, her favorite color. So, Jane, here is my ballad to you. Jane, you are one of the most spectacular people that I have ever met in my life. The way you use your heart to be part of the neighborhood. You enjoy talking. It is what most Brazilians do, but you love to listen, and you are the detail catcher and the conversation tracker. You love to keep a clean house, and you are proud of what you have, especially your lovely family. Your daughters are like mini jewels of your image, and I love that because they love to be with me too. You enjoy my company, and you always remembered my hobbies. I have memories of playing in your yard when I was a child, and now all I can think about is the moss that hangs out by the trees. You were a wonderful friend, and I love the picture of us in denim. I was wearing pigtails that day, and you were always by my side. You are my best friend. When I see you, the time takes a pause to emulate our wonderful memories. You are now a grandma, and you take care of baby Duda with beautiful hands. Jane, my ballad here is to say you are my best friend.
Aww.
Incredible.
You did awesome.
That was amazing.
Thank
Have you ever read
you.
this to her?
I have not. I would have to translate it. It's she speaks Portuguese. But no, I don't think she's ever known that how much she means to me. Like I mean, I was a very odd child. I was probably like 7 years old, and she's a older lady. Like she was our across the street neighbor, and we had a great friendship. Like I'd go over there, I'd go scream at her, and there's always gates, and I would always scream her name. But Jane, it translates to Johnny, that's her name. And then I have one more. It's about my it's another heartfelt one. It's about my grandmother's house. Recently they are starting to get to that age point where this big house that they've owned for 10 plus years is starting to be too little for the two of them. My grandpa has Alzheimer's, and so he doesn't even know where he's at or where the location. But we cannot put him in a home. So the best way is just to keep him with us in that house and until I guess they can write it out, so as long as possible. But I know that in either this year or the coming year, it's gonna start to. We're probably gonna have to sell it. But this poem's called A Familiar Place. Wetwood soaked from the dew, a cross-stitched clock that's just 5 minutes ahead, a dull brown fireplace waiting for an ember. Meadow furniture blends with the closed porch. Any passing vent from the trees hits the large gold chimes, a familiar deep tone of sounds. The trees fall with the leaves of different browns and yellows, down to the wet sprouting Texas earth. The shadow of the day echoes across the canyon. The silence hits the banks of the grand still river, the Guadalupe Green. It shows ripples of past laughter and hurtful earaches. The distance capture of zero weight jumping off a floating rock. The break of water between paddle to make your kayak spin. I could follow that river for miles. Yet it's winter. The glass of the window is cool from the outside. Inside, there's a red love seat with its twin couch. These seats have faded with age, and the once grand red and jean couch is now the color of brick and faded glory. These parts where bottoms have sat show the greatest detail of a bushel of wildflowers, contrasting to the thriving flesh foliage. The colors scream summer is always here. A ruby red trunk stands by the contrasting brown lounge chair, a seat made for a king. Angels are placed all around the house. My favorite one is in the kitchen next to the sign that says, "Grandmas are beautiful." The old cedar wood cabinets make the gray countertop show signs of heavy kitchen time. Some screws cannot seem to stay put in their old cabinet holes. Every dish is placed in our particular order. My favorite pink bowl never fails to be in its place. This reminds me, what's for dinner?
So
Yeah, very well done. Absolutely, Danielle.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I hope this is,
lovely.
while this is your first, I hope it's certainly not your last, because you
I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much. You guys took me out of my comfort zone, so I really like that.
So glad you could join us.
Of course, of course. And so as we get ready to queue up some more people, we want to remind everybody that Crystal and I do host a podcast, right? So we have a podcast that is out there in the world on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Look for it, Revolve One. Our latest episode, we have, of course, Tom Murphy, Corpus Christi Poet Laureate. So he's in the crowd, obviously, as he's putting all this together, along with some incredible people. So yeah, go queue up Tom's episode after all this, because you know you'll really want to hear
He's
that.
the Corpus Christi Poet Laureate, right?
Absolutely. And so subscribe, follow. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Revolve One. And so who do we have next, Crystal? Enough of
So up
shameless
next,
plug.
we have Jennifer, circling back around to Jennifer. And then after Jennifer, we'll have Alan join us as well.
Okay, perfect. So we're circling back to Jennifer.
Hi,
There she is. Yay.
I'm here. Okay, so a little background info on this next one. When in 2016, when Trump was elected, my husband was a little bit more upset about it than most people I knew. And this was because he is Indonesian and he grew up under Suharto's authoritarian regime, and he knew how it happened, and he could see Trump like following the same footstones, I guess. And so because of this, I started to learn more and more about how that came about and what happened. And I've been writing some poetry about it, mostly just to like process my own emotions about the things that I was learning and the fear that it created. And this one in particular is about a prison that Suharto made in 1965 in the middle of an island, Molucca. And people lived around it, and they imprisoned 16,000 people there, and it was full for 10 years. Most of the people there had done nothing. It was part of a genocide that happened. So that's what this one's about. It's called Corral. Islanders walk past the walls, heedless of the droning that is unyielding to morning kopi or bathing or bedtime stories. Their ears have closed to protect their hearts, locked up shop, pulled down the iron gate. Others stop in the road to their kitchens, tears forming swimming holes for gnats in the dust, or mud craters that sink and suck and rip them in two, compartment syndrome from the crushing weight, the only cure a blade, fasciotomy of the soul. The echoic sound rushes through the treetops like tropic wind, gathering scent of nutmeg, coffee, cloves as it swirls up and over the walls. It bounces into the world across the waters like a stone hurled by schoolboys, a boulder skipping over the waves. Peals of a rusted bell mark each hour of 10 years, rude, relentless, bitter as the native cocoa, cloying miasma like honey and grease on the wind, salting the cleaved earth so that no rice will nourish or satisfy for generations. From inside, a choir of 16,000 sways together under the unmerciful sunlight, the bittersweet harmonization of shared torment, heavy pipe organ chords of an anguished hymn, pleading knell. We are hungry, we are hungry, we are hungry.
Wow. Whew, that was heavy.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing.
Well done, though. Well done.
Thank you.
We're going to come back to Alan. Jennifer, I'm sorry, did you have anything else to share? Okay. We're going to go. Alan said he had something. Alan, there you are. There you are. You have something to...
I've been working on this tonight.
Oh.
And probably shouldn't share it, but we'll give it a go. And then if we got time, I'll read my January 6th poem.
Absolutely. Yes. So after Alan, we'll have Joshua go. Espitia, Joshua.
And guys, April 8th, 7 o'clock will be the next Del Mar open mic. I can't post the link, but send me an email at abareka@delmar.edu and I will gladly send you the link for the open mic. It's on Teams. So here's the poem I've been working on tonight. It's called Thinking Big. I once told my wife I doubt any job could have made me happy. Come on, she said, think big. I replied, being God, now that's good work. Imagine 6 days on, eternity off. And the January 6th poem, my favorite psychological theory is called the Dunning-Kruger theory. And it's a thing that Dunning and Kruger worked out that shows that smart people usually think they're dumber than they are, and dumb people usually think they're smarter than they are.
Yeah.
And so the poem's called The Dunning-Kruger Insurrection. I used to believe all men were created equal, give or take. But then there came Q, the guy who used to make all those fun gadgets for Bond, James Bond, that is. But Bond never gave him or his work any respect. So the clever Q lost it, turned prophet of doom, oracle of closeted debauchery, finding pedophiles around every corner, especially corners with pizza parlors. You can't blame Q, his lost marbles fused into a dark crystal ball. No, blame the riot on those dumb enough to believe and those who knew better but egged down the gullible for profit and power until the entire lower left quadrant of the American intelligence bell curve showed up in the rage only certainty can stoke to desecrate our capital and attempt to rape the truth in order to birth Q's false prophecies. That's all I got.
Wow. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Alan, for sharing.
Thank you for sharing indeed. Yes, after. Joshua, welcome back.
Sure.
Yes.
All right. It's good to be here. I was already here. Oh. I heard a loud noise. All right. So this piece is, again, not as in-depth as y'all's. I apologize. It was actually a response to an English teacher I heard back when I was teaching, speaking about the word poetry and how she didn't believe it was true poetry. It was more of a, I know, I saw it, I know. She thought it was more of a musical hip hop type thing, which is poetry in and of itself. So that's another story for another time. But I also thought about some of the.
It sounds like you may be fading, Joshua.
You're in and out
Yeah.
audio wise, Josh.
You may be fading.
Is that better? It said earlier my connection was bad.
Maybe ask the lady behind you if she has a microphone.
Fresh out. Is that better or worse?
Oh yeah, no, that's better. Yeah.
That's better. Okay. All right. So anyway, this was inspired by that, as well as some reactions I saw to some audiences to kind of standard sonnets and the like that get read sometimes. This is Pickpocket Laureate. Pickpocket Laureate, practicing sleight of hand among giants, making jumbo jets disappear, believing like the Dickens that they're David Copperfield, ignoring all of her twists of that uncouth tongue, swiping their narrow, self-repairing inherent value in front of an audience transfixed by the parlor tricks of auditory misdirection, a three-card Monty insurrection, watching high rollers fall to rolling applause for a dirty urchin trespassing on ground consecrated by images of rosebuds and summer days and trees and cats creeping smooth into cities like fog that is seen but never heard, simply praised by prose like Sandberg.
Wow. There you go.
That.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Josh.
Appreciate you sharing. We're going to circle back to Michelle, and then after Michelle, we're going to have Robert Dean share yet again.
Okay, let's see. Sorry. Okay. Not everything I do is political. And to help myself out of the political side of things for me, this is something that I'm trying to do more of. The poem's titled Listen. Listen to the beat of your heart as it worries about your bills, job, family, yourself. Listen to what your child is saying, and then listen to what they meant to say beneath the words. Listen to the checkout girl when she says she likes your earrings. Listen to your mother when she implores you to take better care of yourself. Listen to the music that makes you move, and listen to more of the music that makes you dance. Listen to what makes sense. Listen to what doesn't make sense. Listen to make more sense of it all. Listen because you can learn. Listen because you want to learn. Listen to teach others how to listen. Listen when it is quiet and the world is speaking to you, begging you to listen.
Yes.
And that's it.
Thank you.
We all
Thank you,
need to be
Michelle.
reminded,
That's
right?
love it. I think my partner would like to have that up in the room here. So we're going to circle to Robert. Sorry, not to put you on the spot, Robin. Robert Dean. And then after Robert, we're going to have Karen, and then we will come back to Tom. Or we will feature Tom. So Robert, welcome back.
Good to be back. I don't consciously write political poems, but every once in a while, something political will kind of sneak in on its own accord. This is probably I think it's the most recent poem I've written, and it's not January 6th, it's a little after January 6th. I think you'll figure out when. It's called The Last Window on the World, and it's got a quote from William Stafford that says, "Wherever you are, there's another door." It's from his poem called Smoke. Wings like the sound of a Hitchcock movie. A bird boomerangs from end to end of the upstairs hallway, head thudding against window glass in the shut doors to freedom. Stunned, momentarily it roosts on the cabinet of paint and spare floor tiles, takes off again as I walk past, open the door to the alley. Bird dives for the street door. I urge the inadvertent tourist my way, but I do not speak the language of wings. Down the stairs to open the world, fluttering the other way overhead. Back door still wide, I'm hopeful. Again it roosts, no coo, no scream. Stealth mode I approach, wave arms, whoosh, again the wrong way. But I've left the street door open. U-turn instead of freedom. And I wonder, is this what panic does? Stupefies us, blinds us to the way out, deafens us to the tour guide of rationality. I close the back door, step over the stain left by the last trapped bird some years ago, down the stairs, hear the thud from the alley door, wonder how many days till I cart another feathered carcass to the trash bin, pull the last window on the world close behind me. Late to my appointment, I listen, car radio on NPR, the president impeached again. Beyond the glass, the world flutters by. My political poem.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Rob. Did you say you had another one? I'm sorry, I heard.
I do if there's time.
Sure, why not? Why not? And I'm an NPR lifer. For life, by the way.
Okay. This is another fairly new one. It's called Graphic Novel. Since when have we had to draw each other a picture? Since when have our words drifted balloon-like over our heads? Since when are we sketched by unknown hands, inked by collaborators operating under aliases? Since when did we become action figures somewhere between Batman and Alice in Wonderland? Since when did we lose the between, where the mind lives, where the story unfolds like a brand new pair of pants, where the terror of the unknown stalks the banality of the known from the lines? If I read you like Lady Chatterley's lover, will you see me like Van Gogh's Starry Night? If I paint you like Bronte's Jane Eyre, will you write me like Caravaggio's Card Sharps, the one with the feather in his cap and his cards in his tunic pocket? If I hear you like a cat-footed snowfall in the high mountains of our first hours, will you spy me in the Marianas Trench shadows of these latter days? If I seek and find you hiding in some dead-end corner labeled The End, can we count to 10 and pen a sequel? If I reach out to turn this page, will I find your hand also there at the corner waiting? If I do, and you are, what conclusion must we draw? What apologies need we write? So, since when have we not been the same story, no matter how it's told? Since when have we ever remained between the covers, left the lines unblurred, stopped the colors like tears from running down the page? Lift the pen, prick the heart, the blood writes a black tale, it is ours. Since before the beginning of recorded time, since a human tongue first painted imaginations sitting wide-eyed around a campfire, it is ours. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Robert.
Yes, Robert, thank you.
We are going to move now to Karen Klein Tardif, absolutely one of our favorite people.
Karen.
Hey, how are y'all? Before I read, I'm going to give you a shameless plug. If y'all want more insurrection poems, Gnashing Teeth Publishing has the Insurrection Anthology that just came out. So you can pick it up on Amazon or our website, gnashingteethpublishing.com.
Sweet.
Gotta check it out.
All right. This poem is a poem in parts. So when I say one and then I say one again, they actually run down the page together, just so you know what I'm talking about. So I do know how to count. It's called Baptism. Youth has a way of remembering. Age is lost to memory, but the feet can still walk the path to Stubbs Pond. The voice can still sing out clear as a bell. Shall we gather at the river in a place with no rivers? Only a Southern Baptist preacher in an ill-fitting brown polyester suit and hair full of Brill cream glistening under the noonday sun. One hand held aloft, tattered Bible in hand, the other hand atop the head of newly saved. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And then the dunking. 1. He led me out to the lake, promised me we would only get our feet wet. The stories of snakes, mouths full of cotton and venom banished from my mind. My name became a song on his lips. It was August hot and school was so close we could smell the dust from the erasers. But today our noses were full of the smell that only Texas lakes make, a blend of mud and grass and uncaught bass and crappie. Today my nose was full of Old Spice stolen from a father's medicine chest. He took my hand and led me into the murky water, farther than the snakes swim. His hands, unseen but feeling all of me, he baptized me in newfound adulthood. 2. 12 years old, I still remember my mother weeping, her tears and mine flowing like a river of redemption as I left my seat and walked the aisle, falling to knees before the preacher and begging to be saved. Hellfire and brimstone have a way of bringing about salvation. My mother swears she still remembers the sermon that turned my heart to God. It was sometime in the winter when I was dunked in a sister church's baptismal. The pond was too cold for dunking without threat of the flu. 2. The deacon's son was the devil in Wranglers and freshly ironed snap front shirts, waiting for me between the main church and the children's classrooms, where I skipped in reverent duty as secretary, stopping me on my rounds as I counted the faithful in their Bibles, making sure I knew not to tell anyone, initiating me to the aftertaste of Skoal, the feel of a finger slid between my hose and my pubis, the scent of canoe, made sure I knew the conflict between good and evil, desire and salvation, making me thankful for once saved, always saved. 3. He was the oldest member of our church, and he always had a $50 for the girls who would come sit on his lap after church. He would ask them, "Is this okay?" And we would politely answer, "Yes, Deacon Proctor, because that's what you said when an elder gave you money and the hope of everlasting life." His trembling hands would have a hard time reaching into his pocket to pull out the promised coin, so of course we had to help. He died in his sleep before we knew any better. 3. He was 21, a mysterious age full of fast cars and liquor from across the county line, a swagger that all of us girls felt in our guts but knew nothing about, but we wanted to know. And he would pull up to the curb, come to the door and politely speak to our mothers, who thought he kept both hands on the wheel while driving, and off we would go through the car wash, water and soap covering us in pink and black and blue, a public place full of secrets, teaching us what it meant when he would swagger.
That was so good. So good. So much.
Yeah, that was, mic's been dropped.
It is.
I
It's
mean,
been dropped. You got to
that's
pick it back up now.
absolutely so powerful, Karen. Thank you for sharing. We really appreciate that. And we are going to shift gears now to Tom. And Tom, of course, like we said earlier, is the newest poet laureate for Corpus Christi. And of
Woo,
course,
go
helping to
Tom.
put all this on, man. Thanks for having us again. You liked what we did last year? I hope we're living up to your expectations.
Yes, you are.
Where's
You
the
are.
medallion?
What?
Where's the medallion?
Where's it at?
Yeah.
I heard it was a pin.
Oh,
It's a medallion.
it's a medallion pin. Huh?
There it is. Don't hit us with it now.
Oh gosh, he's got that
Watch
bling
out.
on. He's got
Got
that
some bling now. Got some bling.
There it is.
Absolutely. You're shining in more ways than one tonight.
All right, I'm gonna do this with I'm gonna read probably 3 poems because I think 2 of them are short, or they're all both actually all 3 are rather short. This one's the first is the first poem in the book from Pearl, and it's something I wrote a long time ago, and I used to start readings with it. It's called Fun with Sound. And I actually read this at the very first open mic for the People's Poetry Festival in 2016. And Juan Manuel Perez said, "Oh, I know who you are now." I carry my hatchet around with me. It lies under my bed while I sleep. I listen to music in my room and freak out with my hatchet. pretending to smash the furnishing, trashing the air to the beat. No one's ever seen me while I freak in my room. Come over sometime. So the next poem I'm going to read is from my book, American History. Actually, I'm going to end with that because it's a humorous poem, and this next poem is not so humorous. This is in the Odes and Elegies of Eco Poetry from the Texas Gulf Coast, and this is called Corpus Christi. Booze laden, you flock maskless to your plastic-strewn fecal tides, awaiting the resurrection or erection while crucifying your land corpse. Your Klieg-light benzene seepage flaring stacks of refinery desolation row spread like COVID-19 around the bay to wink a multitude of Baradur. Steel pipe plants shed black dust transforming Portland into Pompeii. Your croplands, floodplains, now saturated DDT and Roundup converted track housing. Your 50-year-old bridge you demand unworkable for bigger cash-bound zebra mussel tankers cannot reach your pipeline wells. Port commissioners hire proven contract disaster. Floridian footbridge collapse kills 6. Idea blooms like your illiteracy and teen pregnancy rates. A floating fuel dock at Bay's mouth. We guarantee no spillage. Clean as a whistle. Cancerous, you watch loggerheads and green turtles bobbing empty shells that guide ships through oceanous surf. The latest commission brainstorm, desalinization. Desal plant on Harbor Island, a maximum of 97 million gallons of wastewater a day. Only a trifle. The aquifer mixed with Eagle Ford shale fracking chemicals, nearly Death Valley. But you, Corpus Christi, hand out millions of gallons of water with cash bonuses and tax exemptions to any willing multinational corporation to ransack and pollute these once fertile lands. Your pocket payoffs for war machine military madness and their toxic dumps, erecting statues, planes, and cemetery pit plots, along with your proposed ginormous cross on I-37, where you will white robe nail as much of the land with your AR-15 style accumulated blacks and Mexicans to those grotesque beams that greet the future in channel reek of sludge.
Wow.
Gee, Tom, why didn't you read that one to the mayor?
Yeah, you know, that was I went the lighter side with how horrible it was to actually teach during a pandemic. So this one's a lot lighter. It's called Old Man, Oh Man in American History. Visible is his uterus. Too much deer beer near. It's the victuals, must vacuum, avoiding vaco. Ium monibam, ium moniui. I have warned him, the cross section of the parabola's growth, programmed into his palm, prints out double helix pellets in proportion to unutilized kcals. The toxin as it left the bell, for once the cacophony silent. His coccyx out of whack. That saggy boob's epiphanies, wasted ability to exchange tit for tat. To redeploy vitric camouflage to get over it. It being a segment of his vas deferens, severed, for the scrutiny of his wife. Now the general population, his nicotine defallicized. It's no wonder it's indivisible that visible is his uterus. Thus being the postmodern conditioner, wearable computer camera to undress leotard, gumptious to compare Snoopy Come Home to the Holy Piddle, Uterque hierarchical structures. One's dad was a barber, the other was a Barbara, shouting, "And what do we have in the gift bag for Juan Carlos?" A golden ticket for strategic arms, including depleted uranium shells, and ready to be mantleized, a stuffed Hemingway head on a lacquered plaque. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Tom.
awesome.
We appreciate you. And we are just in our last 15 minutes of the open mic. It's incredible to think that it's fast. It's been great. It's been an
awesome.
amazing night, some incredible pieces. And again, we want to remind you that you can find Revolve One wherever you download your podcasts. You can ask your smart speaker to play Revolve One. You can visit us at revolve1.com. And so be sure to subscribe, follow wherever you can. And so, of course, you got it, Karen. So it's kind of open floor. We're gonna circle back to Tina because I know that Tina did have a couple of more pieces to share, if that's okay with you, Tina. And then if anybody else, put your name here in the chat. After Tina, looks like Karen might have another one too. So Tina, we'll circle back to you here.
Yeah, cool, thanks. This was actually just like my last one that I was like, oh, I'm gonna share. I have shared this with my poetry group, so you get to hear it again. This poem has to do with like existing in a brown body in like a space that's predominantly white and wondering if you're really welcome there. And it's called In a Name. My name is touch, wet clay, the kind that lives in feeder rivers. I am making a bed in these currents, algae hemorrhaging. Sorry, like being crass. Okay, algae hemorrhaging, bone bodies floating into the ocean, catfish the size of my father, trying to fill 1,000 stomachs. I think I lost sight of the shore. You asked if I am saved, and I don't know how to bridge this rift. Oak between us, crawling over these shorelines seems obscene. I think about this as I sit on the pew Sunday morning. Body take up space. The world consists of inconsolable atoms. Listen, hold. Anxiety dripping off my tongue. Hungry animal circling the wave of hats and lacquered nails on alabaster skin. They have just returned from a trip, are displaying their ivory. I don't know how to feed them, but is it my job to fill their throats with singing? I see them turn, look at me slant, and push me into shapes they recognize. I cough up marigolds, tiny suns, who dig their own bodies up from the earth. Here are the roots that bind us. With one hand, I slice through the skin, gnashing teeth, holy, 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 dust-covered doors. My name is River, cutting through a canyon, wound making the flowers thrill. You ask me for my name, but forget to listen when I tell you.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you, Tina, for sharing and giving us some incredible pieces tonight. Absolutely incredible. We've got a short one from Karen, I believe, and then we're going to circle back to Robert Dean. So let's see, Karen, there she is. There she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all don't need to see how much I'm drinking tonight. That's why I keep going.
You're good. Pass the bottle.
Yeah. Push it down so we can see the bottles.
Sorry, it's just empty now. Okay, this is just a real short one. It is from a series of poems that I am working on called Domesticated Animals. And they are all poems about domestic and sexual abuse, but told from the point of view of animals. So this one is called Nacre. A grain of sand in my mouth. It tumbles, it rolls, holds itself under my tongue, refuses reason, will not be cleansed. It grows, a tumor, this insidious invader, this unrepentant tourist. I try to spit it out, but cannot. You try to convince me it is a pearl.
Yes. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you again for sharing, Karen. We hope that you'll include a picture of what you're drinking
Right.
in the chat. I'm just kidding. Robert, we're going to circle back to you. And then, of course, I think that, oh, I accidentally.
There she is. You're just picking on Robin tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just checking on you, Robin.
Just checking on you. Yeah.
Well,
By
you
the way-
still had your clothes on, Robin.
By the way, I love the way Texans say the word poem with an I instead of an E. There's the last.
Let's not get into that now, Robert. She said to drink.
Right. Can't work.
I think Oklahomans do the same thing. But I mean, this is I think the most recent one I've written. It's called Not Quite the OK Corral. I have my own theory about time and how time works, and I won't not go into that, but this poem deals some with that. If we run fast enough, can we catch up with the past, get a jump on the future? Does the moment hold us back, or do we take it with us? Ride it from here to here, there to there. What if all the clocks stopped and the sewer drains swallowed all the winding keys? Would I see you in passing, or would I pass you by? What if this were the OK Corral and our guns were frozen, half in and half out of our holsters? Would we still go down in history or wind up in murderous disrepair? Open the textbook and see if we are there above our names. If someone took a moment to scribe us into time, assemble a book, what should we call it? The autobiography of Not Quite, a fairy tale of the TikTok world, as we thought we knew it, as we tried to nail it down, as it is and has always never been. Run, brother, run. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Robert. We have some time. Do you have another, or does anybody else want to share before we are done for the evening?
I've got two short back-to-back ones. They go together.
I'm sorry, who I'm trying to see who's talking here.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Rosemary.
Rosemary, there you
we
are.
had
Sorry,
our
I have our
the
chat
chat
over you.
was
That's
up.
why I couldn't see you.
Now
There-
we see you.
Yes, please share with us.
Okay. Okay. This first one, they go together, but they're the first one's called Nothing Left. It stands tall, sinister, and gray, hard and cold. When it's breezy enough, you swear you could see it sway. Atop long, thick columns, wind rushing 120 feet down, falling, falling, falling. One might think they'd never reach the ground. What happens in that moment when reality hits your mind and you realize what you've done, but there's no way to take it back? Oh, such is the metaphor, for it is not reality that hits you hard, but your body crashing into the ground. And then metaphors are no more. And this is the second piece. I remember shouts of joy early in the mornings when the cold water would hit his skin. You would hear, "Yeah," as he welcomed his day. My mother remembers enormous brown eyes, so wide with wonder, rolling from east to west. His attention, anticipation of the joke told just right. My sister recalls an insight that could enter another person, understanding their mind and capturing their essence. We all remember a different Paul, my brother, one with grace, in peals of laughter, one alive. Sorry that wasn't more upbeat.
Oh, Rosemary, that was
Oh, thank you, Rosemary. That was really beautiful.
Yeah, everybody's. I mean, this has been an exceptional night.
Yeah, it's
I've
been
got to
incredible,
say,
all of
I've
y'all.
laughed at farts.
I wanted to
I've
cry.
been moved, and this has been so many. All the
It's
feels.
been-
We
yeah,
say that all the time,
all
right?
the feels. Yes, you're right. It's definitely
Is
been all
it
the feels.
feels or feels? I don't know.
Feels. Who knows a feel?
But we're reaching the end here, but we just want to say thank you all so much for each and every one of you sharing and being a part of this festival and this night.
Undoubtedly, it has been an amazing experience overall.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have any anything to share? Any last comments, thoughts?
I think you guys.
This has been really great. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We're saying the same thing.
Sweet dreams.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, one thing though too is tomorrow we start at noon with the Hope Panel, which Alan Barreca is going to be hosting with Ken Hayda and Dorothy Alexander, Alex Salinas, and am I missing somebody, Ken?
No, that's it. Just the four of us.
Just the four of you, right? And so please come to that. If you the Zoom meeting, you need to go to the website at. It's a www.peoplespoetryfest.com. I'm getting tired, I have to admit. And then get the Zoom link, okay? It's been a great night tonight.
Yes.
Great poems. Been so great.
Yeah, y'all were absolutely fantastic. And I mean, we're just counting it down now to the end.
No, it was wonderful. Thank you so much again for joining us.
Don't forget to take the survey.
Yes, please do the survey. And also too, if you go to the website, we have a shop there. So there's some books in there to buy and everything. You can look at all the poets' bios and everything. We got a great lineup tomorrow, as we had a great lineup today. So please go check it out.
If we wait till 11 o'clock, does a ball drop?
Does the ball? Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna drop on the floor.
Right, around 11 o'clock.
Who knows what happens? We're about to find out. But yeah, y'all have absolutely been. Thank you,
Yes,
Michelle.
thank y'all
We
again.
appreciate that.
Y'all have been
Absolutely been a lot of fun.
amazing
with you all. I mean, I so many wonderful
I know
highlights.
it all is just such a, it's multifaceted, with everybody being able to share and having all those different perspectives and voices.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
incredible.
I love how Zoe said a little bit ago, such a wonderful vista of experiences. I feel like that sums it up for
Yes,
me. You
there you
stole
go.
the words. Well
Zoe's
put. Well
wording
put.
it better than we are. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. So we got Survey Monkeys in the chat. In case you guys want to rate us, please give us a 10 or we do not get invited back next year, I'm told.
Don't worry, they'll be back.
Absolutely. And Crystal, did you share with the panel what your shirt says? I'm sure some people might be wondering.
Yeah, here, let me. So it's poetry is not a luxury.
There you go.
Quoting.
I like that. It's like looks like it's a hand printed and everything. It's got other things on top below it and everything. That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty legit. I had to go buy a fabric spray paint because I
Oh,
was.
is that what you did? You did that yourself? No.
DIY shirt
Yeah.
right here.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Custom, absolutely. Nobody else has this one, probably for.
See, my uncle and aunt made this one for me, just right.
Just right. That's the best advice
Yeah.
there is.
And they sent it to me for my 50th birthday. And I was like, okay, thanks.
I love it.
Absolutely great. Well, seriously, you guys were fantastic. Such an incredible group of people, and so many people signed up that didn't show up. I have going to email them all personally. Let them know what happened. I mean,
I'm sorry. You owe us money.
we practiced names that
Right.
I was going to butcher like you wouldn't believe.
Make up an invoice and then say billable hours. You
Absolutely.
we charge $50 a minute, and you had 5 minutes. So I'm sorry, $250 billed.
This was good stuff. No call, no show. That's right.
Right,
That's
that's what
right.
it is. They're fired.
Done. See if we invite them back next year.
So
Yeah.
what matters is the people they got to share, right?
Absolutely. You guys did amazing. I didn't think there was going to be such a broad spectrum of themes
Yes,
and
definitely a lot of
subject
different,
matter.
incredible, profound works that we got.
I have to say some of the, like, it's been a long time since we've done an open mic. It's been over a year, right?
Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
last year. Was,
Yeah.
Wow.
Last IRL, yeah.
And
Yeah, it was the peace one. Yeah, wasn't it the peace
yes,
one?
yes,
Yes,
it is. It
exactly.
was.
Towards
Yeah. A year ago this month.
Well, it's after 11 for me. You all did fantastic. You did great. Be sure you follow Revolve 1 on social media.
rate and
Subscribe.
review it all.
And we can't wait. Tomorrow, like Tom said, at noon it starts. Incredible panels all Saturday afternoon. So be sure you guys take a look at
Yes.
peoplespoetryfest.com
It's
so
still
you can
going.
make sure to connect and get in on those Zooms. So thank you guys again.
Yes.
You all
thank
did
y'all so
fantastic.
much.
We love you all. And
Everyone say good night. I'm going to close the meeting. Good night.
we're gonna close it.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
In a lot of
Good night.
languages.
Bye-bye.